His work today allows him to indulge in marketing, writing, researching, drafting, advertisements, building media and marketing plans, managing budgets, developing and tracking offline and online marketing plans, launching products and brands, and his favorite part working with people and building teams. He tries to use both his left and right brain as much as possible, but leans more towards the right side. Over the years, he has trained himself to become a heuristic problem solver, not afraid to supplement data and science with his own gut feel. He finds it fascinating to work in ambiguous scenarios where he gets to exercise his imagination while striving to operate on the basic tenets of simplicity, minimalism, and common sense. He believes he has a people oriented leadership style and knows that he is not an INTJ. His loves include Pink Floyd, pizza, Lord of the Rings, Manchester United, and all animals, including his two little cats, Larry and Jerry. He loves to listen to people and their stories and aspires to become a good storyteller someday. He holds an MBA from Management Development Institute, Gurgaon, India, and has completed multiple executive education programs on a range of subjects like data, analytics, artificial intelligence, automation, negotiations, and deal making, customer centricity, and leadership from top global institutions, including Northwestern University, Kellogg School of Management, Harvard Business School, and Indian School of Business. This, in a nutshell, my dear Rylarians, is Mr. Abhik Sanyal. We also have with us Mr. Esadu Rahman, who is the Assistant Vice President and Head Northeast and Orissa of BSP Mutual Fund. Welcome to ERILA 2020 to both these gentlemen. It's over to you, Mr. Sanyal, for your session.
Thank you so much. Thank you for that wonderful introduction. First, let me ask, am I clearly audible?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Yes, you're audible.
Okay, great. Great. So, please do stop me in case I become inaudible at any point in time, or you're not able to understand anything that I say. What we'll do is that I will have a short presentation to talk about. It should not take me more than 30 to 35 minutes. And after that, I'll open it up to any questions that any of you may have. Through the course of the presentation, in case you have any questions, feel free to ask me. I'm going to start sharing my screen in about a minute. But before that, I'll tell you what I thought I would do today. So I am in my mid 30s right now. I've just started my 15th year of work. And having been working for so long, and being lucky enough to work in a world where money is the center of our business, it reminds me of the things that kids are not taught today in school. In fact, even in colleges, uh, people are not really taught in India about how to manage money. Yes, there are courses like commerce. You learn about accounting, you learn about balance sheets and profit and loss sort of statements. But unfortunately, children don't know how to manage money. They're not really taught about how they can start their own businesses. And even if you're a salaried individual, even if you decide to work at a company like I decided, what are the things that you can do to start making money, which is much more than what you would have just earned from your salary? Now, these are all lessons that I have put together over the course of the next 30 minutes. I'm going to take you through them. And my hope is that these short lessons that I've crafted, even if you walk away with 2 or 3 of them and remember them at the time when you start working, you're probably going to have a much better journey ahead of you than what I was able to create. And I hope that some of these ideas are helpful and that you understand them. So with that, I'm going to start sharing my screen now. Just give me 1 second. Okay. I hope my presentation is visible and I'm still audible. Just doing a check again.
Avik, the presentation is visible.
Okay, great. And I'm audible also, right?
Loud and clear.
Okay, great. So, as I said, my whole objective over the next 30 minutes is to take you through 7 important things that I learned. And I wish that somebody had taught me this when I was your age. Uh, I've sort of been listening to the participation in this group over this Zoom call, with the 45 to 50 people that are there in this discussion, and it's thrilling to see the amount of participation and the kind of sort of intelligence that you guys bring to the table when you're interacting. So I hope that some of these lessons, if I'm able to implant them in your mind even before you start working, it's going to have an impact in some way or the other, or you find them helpful. So with that in mind, I'll begin my conversation with you. So the first slide simply talks about what is the difference between rich people and poor people. The only difference, and you learn this as time progresses, and I'm sure your parents would have told you, is how you use your time effectively. Are you using your time to do good things? Are you using your time to learn? Are you using your time to understand yourself better, to plan for how you're going to make your life better? Or are you wasting your time just watching TV, just being on the internet, just browsing, just talking to friends? There is a balance between these two things, but if you're going to make a big difference, using your time is a very, very important part of how your journey is going to be constructed. Now, the reality is in India, this is what we are taught in school. We taught geography, we taught English, we taught physics, we taught chemistry, we taught all of these basic subjects that a lot of us, within 2 to 3 years of leaving school, we may start forgetting because we don't use each of these skill sets on a daily basis. What is important, and none of us are taught in school, is how do you plan to actually get rich? Is this something that matters to you? Is this a thought that any of you have got in your mind still now? Feel free to participate in the chat section or just jump into the conversation and tell me, yes, this is a conversation that I want to have. Yes, I want to learn how to get rich.
Yes.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Yes.
So,
Yes, sir.
great,
Yes, sir.
great,
Yes,
great.
sir.
That is so good to hear.
Yes, sir.
See, this is a subject matter that is of importance to all of us, and which is why these lessons that I'm going to take you through, if you remember them, it's going to help you in the long run. So let me begin with this simple question: is money good or bad? By itself, you can do good things with money, and you can do bad things with money. Now look at this guy. He has money. He has a PlayStation with him. He obviously has a large screen in front of him. He's obviously gone obese because he's been eating a lot, which means that money has some bad side effects as well if you don't use it well. But on the other side, what about this? The latest mobile phones, the best bikes that are available in the market today, everyday food orderings from Zomato, going to a friend's house, just blocking Ubers whenever you want. A Netflix subscription, anytime you want, you can watch anything, video on demand. What an amazing thing. Some of these things did not even exist when I was in school. And the one in the center, being able to go to a top university across the world, and Harvard is just an example of it. So money enables a lot of these things to happen, which means money offers you the ability to plan for a better life. It gives you the chance to think of things that people who don't have money can simply not imagine. So it gives you choices, it gives you freedom, it gives you the power to think very differently than what you can think today. But why is this important for you to know today? This is important because a lot of this today is not relevant for you directly, because at your age, most people in India are still at a time when they're receiving pocket money from their parents. So this is a recent study that was done by Cartoon Network. It spoke about the fact that 52% of children across India receive pocket money. Very, very few people in India, very, very few children in the age group that you guys are today have actually done something to start their own business, to earn their own money. So let me ask this question. Is any of you doing anything which is helping you earn any money? Are you guys running your own business? Is there something that you've started where you're earning something out of it? Anything of that sort from any participant?
Sir, I take tuitions for to teach song to my nearby means my neighbors small kids are there. I teach music to them.
That is so lovely. And you receive some money in return, I hope.
Sir, I write poems for magazines and I get money for that.
Yes, sir.
That is so good. That is so good. So imagine that very few people. So I've heard only two voices right now from over 40 participants who are doing something to earn their own money. So this is a great start. But it still tells you that a lot of us at your age are dependent on money coming in from our parents. But the important lesson to take away from here is this. While money is good because it offers you power, it offers you the opportunity, having your own money is even better. So if I had to ask the two ladies who spoke about the fact that they are doing something to earn money, doesn't it feel good to have money? Doesn't it feel good to have the ability to do something with it, even if it's small? Why is this so? This is important, as I said, because it gives you power, it gives you freedom, it gives you opportunities, it gives you choices. So any of the ladies who spoke a second ago, what do you do with this money when you earn it?
I just give the money to my parents and take the amount of money which I actually need.
Great.
So
It feels good, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. Go on.
So I actually, as she does, I also give the money to my parents, but I also use them to buy some seeds to plant in my house because I love gardening.
That's such a beautiful thought. So you're thinking about the environment already at such a young age. But imagine, so much good can happen when you start earning your own money. Because one, you don't have to ask somebody else, and therefore you become independent. And two, you can really do the things that matter to you, like planting a seed, as the participant just spoke. Now, how do you make money? It's great. Like, this thought is great that yes, money can give me power. Yes, it can give me freedom. Yes, it can give me all of these things. How does one earn money? So a lot of you at your age, you guys will start thinking about colleges that you want to get into. You guys will start thinking about career choices that you want to make. Some of you may be thinking, should I do science? Should I do commerce? Should I do art? Uh, but when you start thinking about it, eventually, whatever you decide to do in terms of study, finally, you're going to do something to start earning money for yourself so that you can create a lifestyle. So I will give you a note on a book. Can you see this book on the left hand side, which says Rich Dad, Poor Dad? So this is a book that I recommend every young kid to read. It talks about decisions that you can make with your money that make a big difference from being somebody who doesn't have a lot of money to being somebody who moves to starting to become rich. So Krish mentioned that he's already reading it. Krish, you want to talk about how are you finding the book? Is this great? Samarth, great that you've already read it. Is this a book that you thought
Yes,
was
sir.
helpful to you?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir. My
It's very
tuition teacher
helpful.
suggested to read this book. I have read about 50 pages of the book,
Yeah.
and it has given very much knowledge about money and how to deal with money.
That is so good. That is so good to hear that you guys are already reading this book. But for all of those who are not, take the time, find this book, ask your parents if they can get it for you or buy it yourself and read it. This book will tell you how do you start earning money from the money that you already have. So I'm going to talk about this over the presentation, that there is something called active income, active money that you earn, which means that tomorrow, if you decide to start, doing a job, or you run your own business, you will earn a salary or you will earn an income. This is what you get from directly putting in the effort that you're doing to earn something out of it. This is called active income. There is a second kind of income which you can earn even without doing the additional work. This is what differentiates the poor from the rich. This is what this book, Rich Dad, Poor Dad, also talks about. How to create sources of income that go beyond what you're actually doing on a regular basis. We will touch upon this topic in a few minutes. So I will move on to the next slide now. Great, Kushagra. Good to see that you've also already read it. You guys know who are these two gentlemen on screen? Any guesses on this?
No, sir.
So these are the two founders. They are both 38-year-old founders of Flipkart. You all are aware of Flipkart, right?
Yes,
Yes,
sir.
sir.
Yes, sir.
So these are two people. When they were very young, they founded Flipkart, and today both of them are amongst the richest young entrepreneurs in India.
So they were inspired by Amazon.
They were inspired by Amazon, exactly. What about this guy? He's even younger. He's about 26 today. Do you know who this guy is?
Ritesh Agarwal, Oyo Rooms.
Perfect. Great answer. This is Ritesh Agarwal from Oyo Rooms. Somebody much younger to me, but just very close to how old you guys are. But imagine the business that he's built today on Oyo. He has a net worth again higher than most people who've been running businesses for 20, 30 years in India today. Why? Because he took some risk in life. He decided that he was going to do something on his own. What about this guy? There's a hint over here. This is an app that all of you might be using to order for food on a regular basis.
So
Any
Zomato.
guesses?
Swiggy or
Sir,
Zomato.
Swiggy.
Zomato.
Swiggy.
Swiggy.
Sir, Swiggy.
Swiggy.
Okay, great. So this is the founder of Zomato. His name is Dipinder Goyal. He's 32, but also a
Domino's.
very rich guy. He runs Zomato, and he just started it as a side business. He didn't even know how big it was going to become, but imagine where he is today. What about this guy? Do you guys know who this is?
Sir, Ola, Uber. Sir, Uber cab.
Ola or Uber.
Sir,
Uber cab.
Uber cab founder.
So
Uber cab.
Uber is an international cab service, and it came into India. But Ola existed in India even before Uber came, and this is the guy who started Ola along with a friend of his. His name is Ankit Bhati. Now, what is the common thing? I've shown you 4 different people. I've shown you Sachin and Binny Bansal from Flipkart. I've shown you Ritesh Agarwal from Oyo. I've shown you Dipinder Goyal from Zomato. And now I'm showing you Ankit Bhati from Ola. What do you think ties all of them together? What is common for all 4 of them?
They have become very young.
So they are richer.
They utilize their time very well.
Great answer.
Successful entrepreneurs.
Who said that they utilize their time very well?
So me. So Bishal.
Sorry, Bishal. Okay, great. I didn't get your name, Bishal. So
Yeah.
great, Bishal. Great answer. So they did 2 or 3 things very well. One, they decided to use their time very intelligently. They decided to identify what they were good at. They decided to solve a problem, and they decided to build a career in that. Number 2, which is the important part to keep in mind, they took risk because they realized that it is very risky to take a chance in life, because all of their friends were starting their regular jobs. All of their friends decided to work for big corporates, for big companies, and start earning a salary. But these
In
are
one
4
article-
individuals that decided. Sorry, go on.
So in one article, it was saying that the education system is made by the rich people so that they can get employees for their job, for their business.
That's a very good point. So somebody says that you have to create opportunities for yourself. Otherwise, you'll keep on working for somebody else and creating opportunity for somebody else in your entire life. So these are the 4 sets of people who've actually created opportunities and who have created a career for themselves, instead of simply going and choosing a path that countless other people do. Now, how did they do it? Do you think they did it because of their pocket money? They had the solution in front of them, right? Do you think they could have built these big businesses just out of pocket money?
No, sir, they were very ambitious.
Exactly. Do you think just money given from their father? For these 4 people, do you think money came in from their parents? So all of us were dependent at, like, when I was 15, I remember my parents used to give us money. But could they have built a business like this just based on what my father was giving me?
No, sir.
No,
Not
sir.
possible, right? Is it possible to just build so much money? Do you think in a career you can get to 2,000, 3,000, 4,000 crore rupees with just a salary?
No, sir.
Very difficult. Very rarely does it happen that people get to that level. But these 4 people did it. They built their own businesses. Now, the important lesson for all of you to keep in mind, while we listen to these stories of Flipkart, we listen to the story of Oyo and of Ola and of Zomato, you also have to keep in mind, these are the people who became successful. Like them, there are thousands of other people who have tried to start their own businesses, but those businesses did not work. Am I right?
Yes, sir.
So what does this tell you? It tells you that all of us get carried away by stories of success, but sometimes we don't keep in mind that there are a lot of other people who may have tried the same thing and did not succeed. So these people were smart, they were intelligent, they took their opportunities, they utilized their time well, they were able to manage their risk, they were able to solve a problem, but they still did something that is very rare. Not all of us will be able to do something like this in life. So yes, there will be
So
some
they
people
chose
like this who
fast
will,
lane.
exactly. There will be some people who get into the fast lane. There will be some people who take these big chances. But like in class, I remember I used to sit in the middle of my row when I was in class. Some of you might be sitting in the first bench. Some of you might be sitting towards the back. And all of us think differently. We all have a perception about what first benches do and what last benches do, right? But eventually, what you end up doing in life is not dependent on where you sat in class. It is what your success is defined by is how you use that time in class, no matter where you were sitting. That is a big difference. Making money is hard work. It's not easy. If anybody is telling you it is easy, it's not something that you should keep in mind, because it is not. You will have to struggle in life. I don't know if you're aware of what your parents do exactly to get the income that they have to provide you the lifestyle, to give you the phones or the computers that you're able to log into these Zoom calls. There is a lot of hard work that would have gone in from your parents. So making money is actually hard work. But there is a secret. There are people who make more money than others, but they have the same income. The secret in front of you is known as passive income. Passive income is when you are able to make money from your active income. Now, if you see the image in front of you, what is it telling us? It simply tells us on the left-hand side, the gray portion, it's what everybody does. You have some free time, you go to work, you come back from work, and then you sleep. What you get from here is active income. But when you take this active income, when you take this money that you've earned, when you take this salary that you have, and you invest it in something that is able to give you returns or able to give you interest, even in your free time, this money starts working for you. This is known as passive income. So even when you are passive, your money remains active. This only happens if you have chosen the right investment instrument in which you can put your money, so that your money then starts earning more money for you. So remember this is a big secret for you to keep in mind, that even with a small salary, you can start investing and make big money and start planning for becoming richer. But what happens along the way? This is scary. A lot of us get exposed to risk. We're worried. Do all of you like to go and do bungee jumping? Is there anybody who's scared of bungee jumping, who doesn't want to do bungee jumping in this group?
I am very scared.
So me too.
Sir,
Scared,
scared
right?
of. Yes, sir.
I'm also very scared. I've been thinking of doing bungee jumping for the last 10 to 15 years, but even today I feel very scared of doing it. But at the same time, the same people who said bungee jumping is scary, when you're driving a car, do you like to drive the car fast, or are you okay if the car is going slowly?
Fast.
Fast. So fast.
Sir, fast.
Fast, right? So you're driving a car fast. And imagine the number of accidents that happen on the road today. So you're able to take risk in one context, but the moment you change it and you start thinking of something else, you start thinking very differently. So this is the reality. This is how all of us are. Each of the people in this group is very different. Not all of you will want to take big risk. Not all of you will not take risk either. Some of you will start your own businesses. Some of you will do science. Some of you will do commerce. Some of you will do big colleges. Some of you will do average colleges. But eventually, you will all be exposed to some level of risk in your life. But one important lesson that I can tell you is that risk is good. Risk is not bad. Risk is actually very good, because if there is no risk, there will be no return. This is one important message that you should take from me today. I wish I knew this when I was younger, but this is important for you to know today. Do you guys know which brand says this? Dar ke aage jeet hai.
Mountain Dew.
Sir, Mountain Dew.
Mountain Dew.
Yes.
Mountain Dew.
Very famous line. But do you agree that there is some truth in this line?
Yes.
Yes, sir.
Yes,
Sir.
Yeah, very simple, very catchy, but very powerful, because there is a truth in this line. This is exactly what risk is. Risk is what causes you to get scared. But if you get over it, there is victory waiting for you in the background. So when it comes to money, we say something very similar. Dar ke aage returns hai. So if you are able to deal with things that bother you, you will make money. There are two ways to get to this. There are two ways to get rich, right? There is a way on the left hand side. What is the difference between the guy on the left and the guy on the right? How many of you have heard of Warren Buffett? Let me ask you this question. Has any of you heard of Warren Buffett?
Yes.
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Great. So Warren Buffett is one of the
Yes, sir.
most well-known, most
Investor.
well-respected investors in the world today, right?
Yes.
On the left-hand side, there is Mukesh Ambani. Inherited a lot of wealth from his father, inherited a lot of businesses, built a lot of his own businesses also, and is probably the richest person in India today, or amongst the richest person in India today, if not the richest, right? Now, the difference is the person on the left-hand side has built his own businesses. He set up Reliance, Jio. There's a lot of businesses that Mukesh Ambani has set over the course of his life. On the right-hand side, there's Warren Buffett. Warren Buffett did not start his own business. He's just been an investor his entire life.
Investor.
But he has more money than what Mukesh Ambani does. The numbers below are astronomical. I hope that some of us in this group will be able to reach some of these levels. 4,50,000 crore, 5,70,000 crore. This is less than the GDP of some countries, but this is what their net worth is. The point I'm making is, on the left are people who build their own businesses. On the right are people who may not build their own business, but who invest in the right businesses. When they invest correctly and they invest in a whole set of businesses, they will do well in life also. So there are two examples. You can choose to be either one of them. Do you guys know who this guy is?
Saying elsewise, we can also say
Rakesh
that
Jhunjhunwala.
he achieved the feat much before than Warren Buffett, whatever the source may be.
Yeah. Sorry, can you just repeat your point again?
I was saying that, thinking elsewise, we can also say that Mukesh Ambani achieved a feat similar to Warren Buffett much before his age, whatever the source may be. Maybe it was inherited wealth, but he.
Yes. Absolutely.
Mukesh Ambani's
Absolutely.
brother Anil Ambani also inherited, but he could not make the best out of it. But Mukesh did.
Very, very important point, and a very good point you made. Thanks for saying that. Anil Ambani, brother of Mukesh Ambani, son of the same father, inherited a similar amount of wealth. But where is he today? He's almost on the verge of bankruptcy. So this is not to say that one of them is better than the other. This is just to say that there are two routes in front of you. Mukesh Ambani took the route where he built his own business. Warren Buffett took the route where he started investing in other businesses. So somebody took the name over here of Rakesh Jhunjhunwala. Can you just tell me your name again?
Krish Agarwal.
Great, Krish. So Rakesh Jhunjhunwala is again similar to Warren Buffett, but in the Indian context, often known as one of the best investors in India. All he did is identifying the right companies he wanted to buy, created a portfolio. A portfolio is basically a combination of various companies that you can own together, parts of various companies that you can own together that collectively earn an income for you. So Rakesh Jhunjhunwala created a portfolio of companies who then were able to generate so much money that today he himself is worth between 15 to 20,000 crore rupees. Again, does not do active work, doesn't have an active income, only invests. His investments give him more money than what all of us will earn collectively, unless one of us becomes a real hero in life. So this is the third lesson. If you invest smartly, you can own great businesses. And when you own great businesses, you can make a lot of money. Very, very important lesson to learn, and very, very important word to remember: investing. How do you do this? How do you invest? How do you think about investing? Okay, so I'm assuming that a lot of you get pocket money. How many of you have a habit of saving? Do all of you save some of the money that you are taking from your parents on a regular basis? Is there a piggy
Yes.
bank? Is there a wallet?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
So great, right? In India,
30%.
close to 35 to 40% of income that people earn on an average, once they start earning a salary, is what they save. Keep in a bank account, keep it in something safe, keep it under the pillow, keep it as cash, whichever way they do it. They keep it because they want to keep this money safe. The other part of the money is what they use for spending, which means I need to pay school fees, I need to buy groceries, I need to pay my electricity bill, there is petrol costs, there's a water bill. All of these things go in the expenses bucket. After that, the money that is left is what you can use for investing. But how do you do this? How do you invest well? A very simple rule. Investing, like anything else in life, needs a balance. You can't do everything the way Warren Buffett or Rakesh Jhunjhunwala did, because they are a very different kind of investor than you. At the same time, you can also not keep all of your money in just one kind of place. So for example, I won't keep all of my money in my bank account. I would keep some money in my bank account. I would keep some money in an investment. I would also look at buying gold or buying property, all of these different elements. So the important message is a balanced diet is a healthy diet. Similarly, in investing also, a balanced portfolio is a healthy portfolio. How do you think about this? Do you guys know who this is? No football fans in this group today.
He's the manager of Manchester United.
So he is, I mean, you were close, but far. He is the manager of Manchester City today. His name is Pep Guardiola. He is widely regarded as one of the best and most astute football team managers in the world. He used to coach a team called Barcelona before this, and then he moved to Bayern Munich, and now he's at Manchester City. Now he thinks like a team manager, which means he thinks of who is going to help him form the right team. There are two teams in front of you. Which of these two teams do you think is going to do better? I'm just going to zoom into these a little bit more.
The second one.
So the team on top or the team at the bottom, which do you think is going to do better?
The team
First
on
one.
top.
Sorry, the team on top.
The team on top.
We can decide by seeing their game, not by their picture.
The second group, all the players have the same face. One person. They play this in the same manner.
Top one, also. I don't think Messi can be a good goalkeeper.
Yeah, I think it's top one.
Good point. So imagine let me change the context and give you another example. If we were looking at the India cricket team, do you guys all believe that Virat Kohli is one of the best cricket players that India has today?
No. No, sir.
Yeah. Batsman.
So
He's the best batsman, but not the best cricketer.
Yeah.
So give me a name that you guys feel unanimously you feel is one of the greatest cricketers in India today, according to you.
KL Rahul.
Hardik Pandya.
Hardik Pandya.
Dhoni on KL Rahul.
Sir, Hardik Pandya.
Hardik Pandya.
I go for KL Rahul because he can do wicket keeping as well as he's a batsman.
So now
Dhoni would be one too.
Let me ask you this question.
Dhoni is going to retire anyway.
But can MS Dhoni be a bowler? Can Hardik Pandya be a wicket keeper? Can KL Rahul be an opening bowler? Can Virat Kohli be your
Sir, no one is self-sufficient.
Exactly.
Yes,
Exactly. What does that mean? Even if you are the best player in a team, so whether you look at Messi or you look at Ronaldo or you look at Neymar or you look at Virat Kohli, you can have 11 Virat Kohlis in the team, you can have 11 Messis in a team, but that team might not do well because Messi might not be the best goalkeeper. Ronaldo might not be the best defender. They are great at their positions, but collectively, a team is formed. And when a team is formed, everything becomes a lot better. Therefore, my fourth lesson for today's discussion is that a balanced and an intelligent team is what works well for you. What do I mean by this? Very simple logic, right? So in a football game, You have people. So on the left hand side, you see an entire unit who helps defend the goal. The portion in the middle in the pitch is a set of people who create, who take the ball from the defense, pass it on to the forwards. And on the right hand side, you see the forwards and the aggression part of the pitch, which is the set of people who go and try to score a goal for you. Do you think any team can work without each of these three units doing the best job that they can?
No.
No, sir.
No, sir.
No.
It's not going to be possible, right? So this is a lesson that you need to keep in mind, that when you start thinking of investing in some point in your life, when you start earning your own income and you have money, whatever you do with your money, think of it in this way, that you have on the left hand side things that are going to help you defend your goal. So whether you look at savings and fixed deposits, some of you may have heard, I mean, you may have bank accounts already, you may even have fixed deposits or FDs in your name. Below that, there is a term called fixed income. Fixed income is very similar to what savings and fixed deposits do, except that they have a slight element of risk, but they are still better as compared to what you see on the right hand side in terms of the risk. They take low risk. So these are two strategies which which you can utilize to build a good defense. On the right hand side in red is when you buy businesses, when you buy equity, which means when you buy stocks, when you create a portfolio of various companies, which can give you great returns, but it is risky to do this, which means they add aggression to your portfolio. Who sits in the middle? Who actually creates the entire team? You sit in the middle. You bring in your intelligence. The left side builds in the defense. The right side builds in the aggression. But these three elements, when you have defense, aggression, and intelligence in your team is going to do well, right?
Yes, sir.
This is what you need to keep in mind. This is what you need to keep in mind when you think of building your team with good financial skill sets. So look at any team sport, whether you look at cricket or you look at football or you look at hockey, you'll realize that all of them have a very similar strategy. You will be defensive at some point, you will be aggressive at some point, and depending on where you are playing, who you are playing against, you'll change your strategy slightly. But you have to control how you're going to operate. The same logic you have to apply when it comes to money as well. I'll bring you to lesson number 5 for today. Lesson number 5 is this. It's very difficult to find the best returns in anything that you do. So it's easy to say that I will be Warren Buffett. It's easy to say I will try to become Rakesh Jhunjhunwala, or I'll farm the best team. But what actually ends up happening for all of us, and this is a mistake that I've also made very often, when I actually go and try to buy an investment, whether it is an equity mutual fund, or it is to try and start a SIP, or it is to buy a stock of a company, I also start asking myself this question, where can I get the best return? I also tend to forget that there is nothing called best returns, because if you look at Neymar, or you look at Messi, or you look at Ronaldo, none of these three people can do their jobs without everybody else around also doing the jobs that they need to do. So finding the best returns is actually very rare. Why is this concept important? This concept is important when you see the next slide. So this is slightly complicated. I'll not spend too much time on it, but I'll tell you what this means. On the left hand side, the purple bar says BSE Sensex, S&P BNC Sensex. This is basically the representation of the equity market. It's a marketplace. So you go to a superstore and buy all kinds of things over there. Like that, BSE Sensex is a marketplace for companies. You can go to this marketplace and look at the top 30 companies in India, and you can buy shares of that company. So when you buy that, you basically become part owner of that company. That's what BSE Sensex is all about. Next to it is gold, then you see real estate, then you see public provident fund, then you see fixed deposit, and then you see savings account in descending order. What is this chart showing you? It basically shows you that you invested
The higher
1
the
lakh
risk,
rupees.
higher the returns.
Yes, exactly. So this is a chart that shows that if you invested 1 lakh rupees 15 years ago, how your money would have grown in the equity market on the left hand side, and how your money would have grown if you just kept it safe, whether it's in a savings account or a fixed deposit. Now you see the difference. Equity means taking risk, which means that in a bad year, you can lose some money as well. But on the other hand, bank accounts and fixed deposits, they give you guarantees, but the value of that money may not increase very, very fast. So when you don't take risk, your money may not grow. When you take risk, your money can grow a lot more. So remember this word, that when you start thinking of investing, learn as much about equity markets as possible, because yes, there is risk, but as we said, risk is good. And when you manage it well, when you manage equity investing well, you can do very, very well in life. Now the flip side of this, sorry, you wanted to ask a question?
Yes, the risk has to be a planned risk. We just cannot take a risk and know that we'll have to earn profit.
Sorry, can you repeat your question? I think your network is a bit off, so I couldn't understand your question correctly.
I said that the risk has to be a planned risk. No, we just cannot think about the future profit and take any risk.
Yes, exactly. So how will you identify how much risk is there when you take a decision?
I don't have actually much idea about it right now. I'm not very sure.
The simple solution to this, in any decision that you take today, so if you're deciding what course to take, if you're deciding what school to go to or what college to go to, you do what is known as research first, right? You'll do a Google search. You'll go and ask people who know a little bit more than you about that domain. You'll go and talk to an expert who can guide you to understand what is risk all about. So this is where an expert financial advisor comes into the picture. This is where sometimes even your parents can give you some guidance. But the whole point is that you will not take a decision without understanding if you're taking the right decision for you. For that, you will need guidance at the beginning. That guidance has to come from a professional expert. Right?
Okay, thank you.
We can consider previous year's facts and figures also.
Of course. So when you do your own research, you look at Google, you go back and study the history of any of these, you will then understand what is the level of risk involved. So I am showing you a picture today that only talks about the fact that equity means market may go up. But we also know that markets also fall down. Like recently, you guys, I don't know how many of you go and buy groceries, but if you've heard about the prices of onions, price of onion goes up, then it goes down. Same thing with price of oil and petroleum, it goes up, then it goes down.
Yes, sir.
So there's a risk.
Sir.
You may take a certain sum of money to the market, but you may realize you don't have enough money to buy that anymore because prices have changed. Which is why the next concept also becomes important, which is a concept called inflation. Do any of you know what inflation means?
Yes, sir.
Sir.
Yes.
Great.
Yes,
So
sir.
things are getting expensive. What you could buy 5 years ago for 100 rupees, you simply cannot buy it in 100 rupees anymore. I remember when I was your age, going to the movies used to cost us less than 100 rupees. I could go to a good movie theater, pay 100 rupees, and not just watch a movie, but even eat popcorn in that money. Today, where can you go? Which multiplex gives you the ability to do this in 100 rupees? Same thing when you go to a restaurant. I remember when I was your age, I could get good food for under 100 rupees very comfortably. And when I say good food, I mean food, I mean a drink. I could have a Coca-Cola, I could have ice cream, all of this put together, 100 to 150 rupees. Everything could be done very easily. Today, it's simply not possible. Unless you go to a very small restaurant or a restaurant which is slightly risky in terms of hygiene, it's very difficult for you to find the same things that you could find earlier. Now, unfortunately, this is a very important reality of life. This is not going to go away. Inflation or things getting expensive, it doesn't impact you today because you're not paying from your own pocket for a lot of the things that are coming inside your house. But once you start earning money, once you start running your own home, once you build your own family, you guys will get married, you guys will have kids, all of them will have their own school fees, all of them will have their own demands and requirements. But when things keep getting expensive on a regular basis, how will you counter this without planning your money to grow in a manner in which you can actually deal with these rising prices? You have to think about this. So keep in mind that inflation rates in India are anywhere between 3 to 6 to 7%. Recently, they've been slightly low, but you have to keep an average of 4 to 5% of inflation in mind, which means on an average, if you can buy something for 100 rupees today, the cost of the same thing is going to become 105 rupees next year itself. So this is what this slide is trying to tell you, that if you invested or if you kept 1 lakh rupees in your pocket 15 years ago, By today, the value of that money has already fallen by almost 70%. 70% that money has fallen in value if you've not done something with it. So what does this mean? I showed you this slide. It talks about 1 lakh rupee invested 15 years ago. And I showed you on the extreme left, money would have become as high as 10.8 lakh rupees if I invested in equity. But what happens with inflation? Inflation affects all of these. Inflation is not exclusive to just money in equity. Inflation affects gold, it affects real estate, it affects even money in your bank account. So now when you look at this slide in front of you, the black portion of each of these bars. Sorry, I didn't get that. Hello, was somebody saying something?
No.
Okay, great. So I'll just continue. In these bars, the portion in black is the money that inflation will eat away, which means that the same value on the left hand side, which seemed to be 10.81 lakh rupees as written above the bar of S&P BSE Sensex, in reality, inflation value will mean that you will only take away 3.94 lakh rupees, not 10.81 lakh rupees. And on the extreme right, we were saying that money of 1 lakh rupee would have grown to 1.67 lakh rupees, where in reality it would have grown to only 60,000 rupees or 0.61 lakh rupees. So inflation is a reality. You need to plan on how will you deal with this. Which brings me to a very important framework. Now, this is a framework that is not just to do with investing. This is a very important lesson in life as well. I'm glad that a lot of you have identified that where there is high return, there is high risk as well. And equally, where there is low return, there is low risk. Now, what you see, like where I've marked the green is basically what you see. Green is very rare. Very rarely does it happen that you take low risk, but you get high return. And on the other side, what I marked as red, if you're doing something which has low return, but very high risk, it is something that you should stop doing immediately. So somewhere you have to plan between 2 and 3, which is high return, high risk, or low return, low risk. But you need to plan this in life in general. Any decision that you take, whether it's career, whether it's family, whether it's where you're going to work, which college you're going to go to, think about the future before you take that decision. The same thing is applicable in money and investing as well. My final lesson for today. So we've covered 6 different lessons already. My final lesson, and this I wish is something that I learned at the very beginning of my career, is that time is the real superhero. The value of time is immense. And I am so fortunate. I feel so fortunate that I had a great boss. So I started working when I was close to 15-year-old because I was doing something small, but an actual active income in terms of a job is what I started doing at the age of 22. Now I had a great boss who told me at the very beginning that, Abhik, if you start investing today, 15 years later, you will thank me. And I can tell you that today I can look back at the decisions that I took and I can thank him for what he taught me, because time is really the real superhero. Why is this important? Have you guys heard of this quote? Compound interest is the 8th wonder of the world.
Yes.
Yes, sir.
You guys know the compound interest formula?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
So you guys all have seen this formula, right? A is equal to P into 1 plus R divided by 100 raised to the power N on raised to the power T.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
If there is one message that you walk away from this presentation today, is make friends with T. Because everybody thinks of the amount that they can invest. Everybody thinks of the rate of interest that they will earn. But very few people remember that time is in their control. So you can decide whether you want to stay invested for 10 years, for 15 years, for 20 years, or for 1 year. The advantage of time. Why is time the most important part of this formula?
It is in the exponential form. It also
Exactly.
it can increase or decrease it.
Exactly. So the most important part of this is that time is the exponential part of this formula, which means that the impact that R will have or P will have is lesser than what T will have. So I'll give you an example over here. And this is a cool rule for you to keep in mind, and you should tell your friends about it. It's called the 15-15-15 rule. What it says is, if you were able to invest 15,000 rupees every month, and you could do this for the next 15 years, and you did it in a way where you earned 15% return every year, you will have 1 crore rupees at the end of those 15 years. Not bad, right? 1 crore rupees.
Sir, will it happen? Means, is it mandatory that it will happen?
See, this is a mathematical formula. So according to mathematics, yes.
Okay.
But according to reality, is it easy to get 15% return? It's not easy to get 15% return.
But very high risk would be.
Yes. So if you take a lot of risk and you're able to remain invested for 15 years, yes, it is possible. So actually, there are instruments in my portfolio today, and I'm just giving an example, where I have actually earned 17 to 18% return for the last 15 years. There are certain mutual funds that I have, certain equity mutual funds that I have, and not just from my own company, from competition companies as well. The only catch is I just remained invested for a very long period of time. All of these funds, there have been times where over a short period of time, in 1 year, they have given very little return. Sometimes they've lost money as well. In some year, they've given me very high return as well. So there have been years when I've earned minus 10% return. There have also been years when I've earned plus 50% return. But on an average, I've earned 16 to 17% return. So I can tell you with confidence, it is possible. So, but it is difficult. It's not easy that it is going to happen. This formula is important for you because there are 3 parts to this on the left hand side, 15, 15, 15. The first 15 is the P part of it, the principal that you invest. The second one in the middle is the T part of it, which is the time for which you remain invested. And the purple 15 is the rate of return that you earn, or the R part of it. Now just simply increase any of these by 20%. So increase the 15,000 rupees a month, the blue one, by 20%. See the impact that it will have. Increase the 15 in green by 20% in the same compounding formula and see the difference that it will have. So how do you do this? By just search. So online, just go on the internet and search for something called SIP calculator. Have any of you heard the concept of SIP before?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir. My brother is in a bank, so he has to submit this SIP after getting his income.
Good. So for those who haven't heard about SIP, learn this word before you start earning, or go and ask your parents if they already have a SIP in your name. It is possible that they may already have a SIP in your name. SIP stands for Systematic Investment Plan, which means small sums of money that are invested regularly over a period of time. And with the power of compound interest, you will earn a lot of money by the end of it all. So I decide that I want to invest 5,000 rupees in the market every month. I will simply start a SIP. Automatically, money will go out of my bank account and start getting invested. So this is a concept that you will start learning about a little bit more as you start earning your own income. But it's a very important concept to remember even before you start earning that income. Okay. The final part of this presentation is, obviously, you know that there is a difference between compound interest and simple interest. On the bottom one, which is the bank account arrow, is much lower than the investment arrow. Investments earn you compound interest. So if you invest in an equity mutual fund, if you start a SIP, or if you buy a stock like Rakesh Jhunjhunwala or Warren Buffett, you can compound your money. But if you keep your money in a bank account, if you buy a fixed deposit, or if you do anything which comes with guarantee. One second. Hello, am I audible? Hello.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Okay. Sorry. So I was saying that an investment is basically where you will earn compound interest, like Warren Buffett or Rakesh Jhunjhunwala. Or if you want to be very safe and risk averse, you don't want to take risk in life, then you will have to keep your money in your bank account, but your money will not grow. This is one of the slides that I was talking about.
We can take both.
Yes, you can. So actually, most people have both parts of this. So you will have a bank account, you will keep some money safe, you will have some emergency money with you, which will earn a small rate of interest on a monthly basis. On the other side, you will also have an equity mutual fund or a stock in your portfolio, where the money will possibly grow at a much faster rate as well. A good balance between these two is the idea of aggression and defense, both of them being there together with you. Now, all of this is mathematics. All of what I've told you till now, SIP, compounding, equity, risk, inflation, these are interesting words. Conceptually, they are great mathematics. But what about the psychology? What about your own behavior? Do you feel that a large part of what happens in your life is dependent on you and your own brain, your own heart, your own behavior? Just tell me a yes or a no.
Yes.
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Yeah. So have you guys heard of this experiment called the marshmallow experiment?
No, sir.
So this is an experiment that was done. Great. Samiksha has heard of it. Samiksha, you want to talk about it if you remember? You want to tell people what you remember from this experiment?
So this was an experiment where little kids, like, they were given one marshmallow, and the person, he went away and he was like, if you don't eat this marshmallow until I come back, I'll give you one more.
Great, Samiksha. That's exactly what happened. This was an experiment that was done in the 1970s at Stanford. Kids were given one marshmallow, and then they were told that if you don't eat this marshmallow for the next 15-20 minutes, I will come back and I'll give you 2 marshmallows, or I'll give you something else in return. Very few kids actually sat down and waited. So more than 67% of kids actually ate the marshmallow right at the beginning, which means only about a third of the kids waited for the second marshmallow, waited for that 15 additional minutes, and therefore exhibited patience. Why is this important? There was a study done 20 years later, after this original marshmallow experiment was concerned, where the same kids were found, and there was further research done on them as to how did they turn up in life. Now, when you did the secondary research, this is what was found. The kids who waited for that second marshmallow, which means that they were patient, they were disciplined, and they were calm, they got higher SAT scores later on in life. They were less likely to do drugs. They started earning larger salaries than the other group. They were performing better at school, and they were even healthier. So patience is not just a word. It's not just something that our parents tell us, but patience has a very, very important part of psychology as well. And our psychology, our behavior is 100% in our control. Nobody can tell us to be patient or not be patient if we don't want to be. And similarly, if you make up your mind that I'm going to be patient, I'm going to be disciplined, I'm going to be committed, nothing will stop you from moving forward. So when you combine all of these lessons from time that I spoke about, it tells you that you should start early. So an advantage for all of you, you guys are young today. You're learning about these concepts about money today from me. I hope you're attending more sessions like this with other people as well. But you have the ability to start very early in life. You have the ability to remain patient. As we spoke about the psychology of patience, I hope this is something that you found interesting. And the third part is remaining committed for a long term. If you decide that I'm going to take a decision that might require 10 years, you have to be committed for that for the next 10 years. Commitment is a very, very important part of making good decisions in life. It's like setting a goal. If you decide that I'm going to buy a big car for myself 10 years down the line, you have to do everything it takes and then be prepared to be able to buy that car in that next 10 years.
But the kid who ate the marshmallow that was served to him before was like taking up the opportunity when they were served and not waiting for anything else.
Yes. So there is a flip side to this also. So people also sometimes want to have the marshmallow because they feel that the opportunity will no longer remain with them. But in this case, the difference is these kids were told and they were promised that I will give you 2 marshmallows 15 minutes later. So the only difference is certain kids exhibited patience and certain kids did not. Sorry, go on.
There was a surety.
Yeah, so they felt that I know I'm going to get 2 more or 2 more marshmallows at the end of it all. Let me wait because there is a greater reward. So that's the idea of patience and the psychology behind that patience.
We can also say that we should not get impatient and withdraw our investments because of the thinking of the risk.
Exactly. That is the point that I wanted to drive, and I'm so happy that you mentioned this. What's your name?
Anisha Brindwal.
Anisha, great. Thank you so much for concluding that, because actually that was the point. that when you think about investing, you invest for a goal in mind. Your goal might be 10 years or 5 years, but when your investment seems like it is not going in the right direction, you have to be patient.
If
You have to
come
remember,
down
and
from 10%, we should withdraw. We should sell this share.
so you have to keep in mind that if you have a target, if you've thought about something, and if you've done the right research, then patience is going to be your best friend when it comes to investing. But at the same time, you also have to be very realistic about what is the amount of loss that you are able to take. So if you know that you are somebody who doesn't want to take a loss of 10%, the moment that stock has hit 10%, you should walk away from that at that point in time. On the other hand, if you are somebody who's able to take a hit of even 20% of your portfolio, then don't get swayed if the stock has fallen by 10 or 20%, because in the real world, stocks rise and fall on a regular basis. So when they rise and fall, there will be days when you will feel that what have I done? Have I taken the right decision? The value of my money has gone down today. But at that point of time, you have to remind yourself that no, I need to be committed. No, I need to be patient. No, I decided that I'm going to remain invested in this for the next 5 years. So why am I worried in the first 3 months itself? This is where some of the biggest investors make the greatest mistakes. And I can tell you this because a lot of my friends at my age have done these same mistakes. They keep buying something thinking that I'm going to remain invested for 10 years, but they take out that money and withdraw their investment in the first 1 year itself, because they feel that they are not earning what they wanted to earn. So I asked them this question, that you started, your goal was to remain invested for 10 years. Why are you walking away after the first year itself? And they don't have an answer at that point. So the point to keep in mind for all of you is that all of these things, whether you look at patience or commitment or discipline, this is what we as human beings can control completely by ourselves. We don't need somebody else from outside to come and teach us about this. So here is where you can play an important role in your own money while building passive income through equities to deal with risk to eventually get rich in life. So that was basically my entire presentation. I am just going to summarize because I only said that there are going to be 7 points in the main presentation that I will talk about. Point number 1, money is good, but your own money, your own income is even better. Lesson number 2, risk is good only if you know how to deal with it and you learn how to manage it well. Lesson number 3, investing is very, very important. A lot of you are already saving. A lot of you already have a good habit of planning for the future, but investing can really make your life amazing. So learn as much as you can about investing starting today itself. Lesson number 4, a team always does better than an individual. So always think of how do I work with people with complementary skill sets and how collectively we can do better. Lesson number 5, don't chase impossible returns, because with impossible returns can also come impossible pain. Plan well, be smart about it, and then take the decision. Lesson number 6. Sorry, am I audible?
अरे कैंप में है तो
Hello, am I audible?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Okay.
Yes,
So
sir. You are audible.
Okay, great. Lesson number 6 was things will become expensive. Inflation is a reality, but you can deal with it by investing smartly. Equity investing is what can help you do this. Learn about equity investing as well. And my favorite lesson, my most important part of this lesson is that time has immense potential. Time is the real superhero. So you kids are very young today. You have a long time ahead of you. You will take good decisions in life, I hope. You will remember that starting early is going to be your best friend because your money will get the greatest time. Always remind yourself of the compounding formula and that exponential T. And I can promise you, like my boss, 15 years later, you may remember that there was this guy who had come and spoken about this lesson to me. And finally, just the concluding slide, there are certain words that I used in this presentation that I want you to remember: passive income, returns, equities, SIP, and compounding. And I recommended this book at some point during the course of the presentation, Rich Dad, Poor Dad. I still recommend, please ask your parents or just go to Amazon. It's available on Kindle also. Buy this book, read it, it'll give you a good head start as compared to all of your other friends. And talk to your friends about all of these concepts also, because the more you talk about it, the more you'll spread knowledge as well. And collectively, we can make a very, very good world together when we learn these concepts together. That brings me to the end of the presentation. Thank you so much for listening so patiently, for participating so much. I hope this was a helpful session for you. I hope this was something that you guys take away a few of these lessons, if not all 7, a few of these lessons, a few of these words, and I hope that it makes a big difference in your life.
This animal
Excuse
is.
me, sir, I have a doubt.
Sure, go ahead.
I have heard from my father and even read many articles that mostly people withdraw their investments when the market falls down. Why is this the common generic psychology of the people?
See, okay. If I take away money from you, if I give you 10 rupees today, and I tell you that this money, I may take away this money from you 5 days later. Or I give you 5 rupees today, and I tell you that you will certainly have this money with you forever. I'm not going to take it back from you. Which of these two options are you going to choose? The potential of keeping 10 rupees?
Can you repeat the first option? Your voice was not clear.
Yeah. So option number 1 is I come and give you 10 rupees today, and I tell you that maybe 5 days later, I may come and ask you for the money back. There is a chance, but I'm not telling you that I will do this or I will not do this. On the other hand, my second option is I give you 5 rupees today, but I'll not take it back from you. What will you choose between the two options?
Second option.
And why do you think the second option is more important, is something that you'll choose?
Because that is sure, I have security.
Exactly. So this is what happens in people's mind. We are all geared to security. All of us, not just in India, around the world, this is a very common trait for investors and for human beings as well. We all like sure things. If we knew that something would win, we all would be winning bets all the time, right? Because it's easy to make money where there is guarantee. So any chance of loss brings our true colors out. So that is why people withdraw their money before time, because suddenly they are reminded of the fact that, oh, you know what, I can lose money as well. So why this happens, more importantly, and this is an important part to keep in mind, people don't think about the element of risk that they are capable of taking in the first place. So if you knew today that 10 rupees is not something that I'm willing to lose, but if I told you that I will give you the chance of 25 rupees instead of 10 rupees, will you then take the chance of keeping 25 rupees with you, or will you still go with the 5 rupee guaranteed?
Still go with the 5 rupees.
Now there will be, so there will be very different sets of people. Some people will go for the 25 rupees because they feel the chance is much higher. Some people will go for the 5 rupees because the guarantee is there. So when you go for something that is guaranteed, and you start with that clarity in mind, so you seem to be very sure that I prefer guarantees in life, we will classify you as